Hey guys, surprise! So instead of a video on Krita, I'm actually going to be doing a video on Medibang Paint, just because even after I closed Krita, or after I closed the open broadcasting software, it was still lagging pretty bad. And I knew that Medibang was a relatively lightweight program, so I was like, alright, let's try Medibang. That's probably what's going to work on this laptop, and it is. So, if you're new to Medibang, feel free to watch this video, and maybe you'll convert to Medibang Paint, because that's what I might have to do if I can't get my Photoshop back on my computer. The brush does not have quite the range in size that Krita did. You'll notice, for those of you who were in my spontaneous live stream, it went from like basically hair thin to something much larger. I mean, this one's still pretty good. It's a lot better than Photoshop's, but you know, Krita's definitely number one for me. I might try downloading it on my new laptop once that's fixed. Yeah, my newer. It's not necessarily new. It's almost a year old, and I bought it like basically used, so you know. Yeah, so Medibang Paint, everybody. This is kind of new. I used it once when I was at my boyfriend's house. I don't know what many of these tools are, but it seems simpler than Krita for sure. I don't know what these do, and I don't think hovering over them will help, but let's see. Yep, okay. So my shortcuts are working on here basically the same way as on Krita and Photoshop, which is good. Yep, Control Z is working. Let me see. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, here, basic colors. I guess you can pick custom colors and add them over here, which is cool, but not what I'm looking for. So let's just get into some sketching here. Let's see. I prefer to have a background color now. Pretty like... There we go. Good enough. Let's see. Oops. Okay, cool. How do we use an opacity? Opacity? Oh. Well, no, that's for the layer. How do we do brush opacity? Settings. Okay, cool. Minimum width. Opacity by pressure. Sweet. Okay. Yep. Okay. The brushes on here, yeah, definitely better than on Photoshop. Sadly. It also just, in general, looks a lot smoother. Alright, so let's get a sketch on here. I didn't prepare anything, but let's see. Let me think if there's any ideas in my mind that I needed to get out. Alright, so the rest of this video is actually going to be in time-lapse, just for the sake of keeping it an easy to digest format. Yeah, so at first I was drawing a girl, but then I decided let's do something different than girls, because I always draw girls. So I decided to draw human versions of my sister's pet rabbits. The short one is called Bonsai, and he's pretty round, but I didn't draw him very round. But the other one, the tall one, is named Yoru, and he is a black rabbit that we decided to take off of my mom's coworker who said she was no longer able to take care of it. So, yeah, they're both boys. They don't really like each other, which is why I gave them kind of not so nice expressions toward each other. And, let's see, I ran across the phrase femboy on Facebook today as I was browsing through the art groups. I was like, femboy, maybe I should make these rabbit characters like that. I don't really know what femboy means besides probably feminine boy, which are generally what my boy characters look like anyway. But, I don't know, you tell me, do they look femboyish to you? But yeah, so the reason one is so much shorter than the other is because Bonsai is a dwarf bunny, which means he's smaller than the average rabbit. He's also a lion, like referred to as a lion mane rabbit. So basically just a long-haired rabbit, and his hair kind of floofs out around his head, which is why I gave the short character like fluffier hair than the taller character. But yeah, I would say Medibang Paint is like it's a pretty easy learning curve if you were transferring over from Photoshop, and I would assume from GIMP as well. I've never actually used GIMP, but from what I saw in the interface a long time ago when someone else used GIMP, it looked pretty similar to Photoshop, and so Medibang's interface is pretty close to Photoshop's as well. There are a couple things that are missing, like blending options on the layers. That doesn't really exist as far as I know. Still pretty new at this. But yeah, I had Medibang Paint downloaded on my boyfriend's computer, but the only time I touched it was to make a meme, so I didn't really have any drawing experience with Medibang, so it was interesting to see like how much easier of a time I had with this one versus Krita. I mean, it didn't help that this laptop doesn't run heavy programs like that, so I would say unfair comparison. I'll probably download Krita on my newer laptop and see if that issue still exists. It probably won't, because my newer laptop has a i7 core processor and a much better graphics card, so it just runs everything a lot more smoothly in general. Anyways, I gave the black rabbit some gray gloves just to add a different tone, and as you can see I used two different blacks. I made his pants a lot blacker than his shirt and hair, and that's just so that there's a little bit variation in tone like we see in the gray rabbit. He also has like some white, and I gave him suspenders for no other reason than like, why not? Yeah. Basically, I've decided for my needs, Medibang Paint is probably gonna be better for me than Krita, even if Krita does wind up running on my new laptop. Just because, like, I'm probably not going to use the brushes that are available to me on Krita, which is kind of like the selling point, is that you can paint a lot better on Krita. But since I don't paint, it's kind of like I don't really need it unless I want to learn how to paint, which I currently am not interested in because I would rather be drawing and working on my stories. So there's that little bit for you. The blending modes here on Medibang Paint are very similar to the ones on Photoshop. The only thing is that their burn doesn't work quite the same way as the linear burn on Photoshop, which is okay because I tend to prefer the multiply blend mode anyway, which works basically the same way. So yeah, for this one I just used the multiply layer and used one tone for the shadows, and then I used a layer for soft light to do the highlights. So we are getting close to the end here. Like I said, they don't have layer options, so I couldn't do a stroke, so instead I decided to do shadows just by duplicating the merged layers and coloring over it. And I used red because the background is kind of like a dull green, and I thought it would be a nice contrast. And I just added their names here. All in all, it took about 2 hours to get this done, I think. I think I started at like 11. And here is the final image. Let me know what you guys think in the description. And yeah, I hope you like this video. And if you guys are familiar with Medibang Paint and have any tips for me, leave them in the comments so I can be better. Alright, well, I will see you guys next time. Bye.